If the zombies, monsters, ghosts, ghouls, swamp things, chainsaw guys, werewolves, vampires, Frankenstein's monster's a character at one point. There's a giant baby, there's aliens, everything that you can ever imagine from a horror movie from the 50s to 1993 is in this movie, and you have to save the town before the monsters eat the people. Dude, hands down, Final Fantasy VII wins every day.
How could you not love the Mario Brothers movie?
RoboCop kicks everyone else's ass.
And that's why Superman sucks.
Oh, the Velociraptors kick ass in Jurassic Park every single day.
Yep, went on a bit of a rant there, huh?
Oh, welcome back to the SideQuest podcast, everybody. This is Eric, and tonight we have a great episode for ya. It's going to get a little bit spooky in here. We're going to talk about our favorite Halloween movie and our suggestion for the top spot of what you should watch on Halloween. We're going to talk about if we could build our own haunted houses with unlimited budgets. And last but not least, a little trailer dropped this week for Scream 5. Can you believe that shit's still going on? We can. So stick with us. We are getting things started. So, gentlemen, how are we this evening? I want to know, what is your favorite Halloween movie suggestion? If you had to pick just one that kind of culminates and represents Halloween for you, what would it be? Justin, I'm going to put you on the spot first.
First main quest.
First main quest. So I'm going to throw something out there that I feel like you've both seen, and I feel like it's an excellent movie that you can watch every Halloween, but it's Trick or Treat.
Oh, with the R. Just the R treat.
Oh, yeah.
I have not
Trick
seen it.
or Treat. You've never seen it?
No. I've seen it's been suggested a lot on every device that I play, so I think it's trying to give me a signal.
You watched that with us. I remember watching it with
definitely not.
a few people. I thought you were there. This was years ago, but okay, well.
No, so this is a movie, audience, if you've not seen it. But if you're a fan of spooky season, it takes place on Halloween, and it's a series of, I believe, 3 different stories, maybe 4, that interweave to the spookiness that is trick or treating. It's really cool. There's vampires, there's serial killers, there's a little pumpkin-headed guy, there's monsters, it's got everything. And it's perfect. It's perfectly captures Halloween in a nutshell. So that's my vote. I say, audience, if you're going to watch one movie this Halloween, watch Trick or Treat.
Okay. Starting things off right. Jeff, how about you? What's your movie?
I mean, my go-to always during Halloween, there's 2. The first one is, just a very basic bitch answer, but just the original Halloween. I love that movie, and I love watching it either on Halloween or a couple days right before, maybe before we go out for our Halloween parties and stuff. I don't know. That's just like the epitome of Halloween for me. And the second movie I always watch, that I always have to watch, is American Werewolf in London. And it's a fantastic movie. I mean, Justin, you are very well know that movie just because of won an Academy Award, right, for costume design, the whole like werewolf transformation.
Yeah, they put together a hell of a show.
Yeah, it's something. It's something to watch. It's kind of also a little bit of a dark comedy mixed in with all the horror stuff. So those are like my 2 go-to. I always will watch during Halloween. I try, like right now I'm trying to get caught up with the Jason movies. I started them last year, and I realized it takes 3 movies to even get Jason to wear the actual hockey mask. So you always know about Jason with the hockey mask, but it's not until like the 4th movie where he's actually wearing the hockey mask. So he gets it at the end of like the 3rd movie or something. So I'm trying to get caught up with those because I haven't seen them, and I know there's like 18. The Hellraiser series is really good. I mean, it's hard, but the original Halloween and American Werewolf in London are my two go-tos and two suggestions.
Okay. Very nice. I'm gonna, you guys, you can make fun of me. I bring it up every year. Hocus Pocus is my go-to. I love that movie ever since I
Even
was
did
a
a quote
kid.
about it just for
Yes.
you.
It was. It's just, for me, it just, I don't know. I think it's the nostalgia of growing up with the movie, and it really just helps me kind of kick off what Halloween is. So it's kind of like an opening ceremony and a closing ceremony for me for Halloween. I mean, there's a lot of movies in between. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good ones out there. You guys mentioned a bunch. But if I were to say, like, hey, get in the Halloween spirit, you can do it by watching Hocus Pocus. It's got laughs. It's got spooky stuff. It's got, I mean, just the best little comedic stuff going on in a movie that I just enjoy. The one-liners, you know. So,
You will love Trick or Treat. Put that on your list to watch this Halloween season. If you like Hocus Pocus, this movie captures that small town nostalgia of growing up and trick or treating as children, and just flips it all sorts of fuckward. And
It is a great movie. It is
all
really
right.
good.
Well, I will definitely take your suggestions, give it a watch, and I'll bring it back to another episode. Let you know what I thought.
Have you seen any of the movies that either Jess and I brought up? Since
I've
I know
definitely
you've been on a
seen.
horror. You've
Yeah.
been on like a horror marathon.
Yeah,
You
we've
know,
been watching a lot of classics. So, like you, Jeff, we watched the first two Friday the 13th, and I'm like, okay, when does he put the mask on? Because they're enjoyable movies. They're good slasher films, but we're just ready. Like, where the fuck is Jason? So we know we have a couple more to watch there. But I have seen Halloween. Halloween's great. American Werewolf in London, I don't think I've ever seen. I've seen, like, the scene a million times that plays on all, like, the, greatest Halloween movies of all time, like the scene where he transforms. But outside of that, I've never sat down and seen it.
great movie.
And Trick or Treat, I definitely got to watch.
yeah, you're in for a treat. There's so much good movies to watch this holiday season, and I'm glad that you guys, Eric, are diving into uh, the Friday the 13th. But it's important to note that Victor Miller recently won his legal battle on the rights of that movie.
Oh, was he the guy that created it?
He
Yeah,
was.
There's the whole story. Yeah, Justin, explain this because you told this to me a while ago, so it's kind of
So,
interesting.
yeah, so Victor Miller is the original creator of Friday the 13th, and he created Friday the 13th to be this one-off horror movie where, spoiler alert, Mrs. Voorhees is the killer. There's no Jason, and then you see Jason later, but you don't know if he's real or if it's not real, if it's a fever dream. And the studio, and they just sort of stole his IP and transformed it into this 18 movie or however many long movie franchise with remakes.
Some
that
good, some bad.
Yeah, and there's some wins in there and there's a lot of losses, but I mean, when Jason goes to space, that's a whole different beast. And so Victor Miller, whom I for what it's worth, not to name drop, but I know him and have worked with him, and he's a great guy, has been working to win back his IP for many a year and to stop them from bastardizing his original creation.
Wow.
And he finally won. He owns that IP, so it potentially blocks a new Jason Voorhees Friday the 13th movie from coming out.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay. You wonder if he's going to play it like, all right, now if you want him, you got to pay him, or, pay me for it. Or is he going to be like, no, this is my toy. I'm going to take and not let you use it.
He's and I think he's in his 70s now. He's a cantankerous old man, and he's brilliant. But I wouldn't be surprised if he just puts his foot down and doesn't let it be used until the day he dies, and then his family caves and takes the millions of dollars and allows it to continue.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, who would? I mean, I guess, what would you guys do in that situation? Justin, would you allow studios to come after it again and, pay up and I'll let you make a movie, or would you shut it away for a while?
it depends on how near and dear to my heart the story was. And from my understanding in speaking with him and reading articles about it, like this was his thing. This was his baby.
Mm.
If he didn't give birth to a child in the world, he created this entity. So if you're that passionate about your project, audience, if you're, a writer, producer, director, anything art creative, and you have an opportunity to retain the rights and prove a point by burying it, I mean, props to that.
Yeah. Good point. Jeff, what about you? What would you sell it, or would you let it let it go with you to the grave?
I would, reimagine it. It's already been reimagined, so you might as well do it your way or a better way and just have more creative control over it. And just enjoy it. These people who make something and they become super famous for it, sometimes they get bitter about it. And I think that just kind of sucks. And if that's your one thing, just enjoy it, have fun with it, and
Mm.
capitalize on it, make it a little bit better. Try to, be like people like Jason. People like that character in horror films. So improve upon it then.
Yeah.
Don't just be bitter about it and kind of shit on these new fans that do enjoy it.
I would take the money. I would just say, hey, use them as much as you want. Give me $10 million, and then 20% of the movie's earnings. I'd totally just live it up in my 70s, get a yacht, and then spend it all before I die.
There you go.
There you go. So thanks everybody for joining us. What's your Halloween movie suggestion? Let us know at SideQuest. Hit us up. But we are jumping straight into one of our fun new segments. Woo-hoo!
Let's go.
Oh, so you know what that noise is. We are going to be talking about a retro game of the week. So, in the past, we've brought you Pokemon Snap. That was a fun one. But this week, we got a little spooky game that came out in the early 90s. So, in 1993, right around this time of year, September, Zombies Ate My Neighbors came out on not only Super NES, but also the Sega Genesis. And this game, if you've played it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the nostalgia, running around. You are basically two kids in the neighborhood that's been infested by zombies. And you got weapons, you got fun guns, you're trying to collect all the jewels and the coins to get out of the town and get out of there. So, Justin, I know this game's near and dear to your heart, so you want to give the folks a little bit more of that 10,000-foot view?
Oh yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, audience, if you've never played this game, if you're not aware of this game, do yourself a favor, look it up, because everything from just the simplicity of the game, you have 10 survivors in a different location of the neighborhood, each level, that you need to capture. If the zombies, monsters, ghosts, ghouls, swamp things, chainsaw guys, werewolves, vampires, Frankenstein's monster is a character at one point. There's a giant baby, there's aliens, everything that you can ever imagine from a horror movie from the 50s to 1993 is in this movie, and you have to save the town before the monsters eat the people. And it's so fantastic, and you get so many different weapons, you get potions, you get to turn into monsters yourself, you get to turn into invisible ghosts. There's sandworms. There's giant ants. Oh my gosh. Like, I want to play this game again. I've got it on Sega. I'm probably going to play it tonight.
Yeah. I mean, they have so many fun guns. They got like Uzis and bazookas, weed whackers, explosive soda cans, and ice pop. I mean, the list goes on, and it's just one of those fun, like, run and gun style games where you and your friend, you just sit there. If you can envision yourself back in the early 90s, just it's Saturday night, you got the Mountain Dew flowing, you got the Pringles cans open, and you're just having a great time killing some zombies. And I know it was, when I was looking at the Wikipedia page, I saw that this was before censorship really started in the gaming world. So, there's some violence going on. I mean, you're killing zombies and blood and guts are splattering all over. So I know there's a little bit of controversy. Sure, controversy? Is that a new sauce at Arby's?
And yes, the controversy solved, but it's also a LucasArts game.
Yeah, that's what's nuts.
That shocked me. I was not remembering that at all. I had to look it up, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. It was a LucasArts game. I guess, hey, good for them. Somebody had a little side idea, and it seemed like they let them roll with it.
Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, do either of you, outside of me forcing you to play it, remember this from childhood?
100%. I had shout out to Al Stotes. He probably doesn't listen to this podcast, but I'll make him for this episode. I went over to his house after school a lot, and this was our go-to game. So we would tag team this bitch and get the what did the guys say? You'd run around with an axe, being like "Muha, Muha" or something.
Ooh-ah, with the
Yeah,
little Chucky dolls.
yeah. It was such a fun
You
game.
had to throw the can of pop at them. Every monster villain had a different weapon that would only kill them. That made it so much more frustrating but fun.
Yeah, and they had a lot of fun levels. They weren't too big. If you missed something, they made you explore every part of every level. That was the best part. There was no wasted space. And one of the fun things about the first level is like this is probably one of the first games where it's like almost like a 3D trampoline where you're able to like jump over walls and fences and get away from the bad guys and like use a fun new way of doing it. Everything about the game was just kind of, I don't know if it was like meant for like teens or something, but as a kid I'm like, yeah, look at me. I'm such a badass in this game. Look at me, mom. And it actually got some good ratings. I was looking online, and it got 84% from game rankings, 9 out of 10 for video games computer entertainment. Sega 16 gave it an 8 out of 10. So it actually got some really high scores. Not surprised. And they actually had some spin-offs. I guess they called the sequel Ghoul Patrol, which I don't think that made any money. Like, where's Zombies Ate My Neighbors 2? So apparently that game happened. And then, Justin, you might like this, or you might not like this. I don't know. But as of 2011, there was a film that was actually in development for Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and it was going to be penned and produced by screenwriter director John Darko, if you know who that is. But he worked for James Wan for Insidious, so he kind of penned the work there for that movie. But ever since then, it's been sitting on a shelf, not ready to be finished. So I think if I were to nominate one person to bring Zombies Ate My Neighbors to life in a film world, it would be Justin. So project has just begun. You have $1. Get going.
Greenlit, let's rock.
So everybody, let us know. Have you ever played Zombies Ate Your Neighbors? I hope you have. It's such a fun game. And if not, you could probably watch the full gameplay. And what do you think, Justin? Maybe like less than 2 hours on YouTube, I'm sure, is the whole game.
I don't know, because there's a lot of levels in it and there's a lot of intricacies to beating the game. So the only way that you can really defeat the final boss is through a perfect run. I've never done it.
Well, there's definitely got to be some speedrunners out there that are probably doing this as we speak. So I'm definitely going to go give that a little Google after we record here and check it out. But yeah, that would be really fun. I'm so curious to see, because like even those Mario games, it's like, hey, I beat the entire Mario 64 in like 52 minutes is the world record. It's like, what are you doing? Okay, that's fun. But yeah, let us know what you guys think out there. If you have played the game, let us know. If not, go check it out for that retro game of the week. And now, gentlemen, let's move on to our next main quest. I want to know if you guys have an unlimited budget, all the money's in the world, and you were to be able to design your own haunted house, your spooky house, your village, whatever you want. What would your haunted house consist of? What would it be? What would it look like? I know it's an elaborate question here, but Jeff, I got to start with you. You're building your own haunted house and you want everybody in the world to know about it. What does it look like? How spooky is it? Give us all the deets.
I mean, it'd be Zombies Ate My Neighbors. So I could.
Yeah?
About that.
It would just be a 16-bit game that everybody walks into?
Yeah. Now, yeah, I mean, if you had like unlimited funds, I mean, I like the way that Universal Studios does their haunted horror nights, and they clearly put a lot of money into them. So it's always that, do you just do this kind of, what they do out here in the Midwest and just I think across the country, where it's just in a warehouse and there's really no theme to it. It's just each room's a different shitstorm with horrible things coming at you. I like more of the theming of it, where it's based off of a franchise, or it's based off of a book or a game or a movie series. So I definitely go the franchise route. And I mean, if you get unlimited funds, I mean, you can make it, basically like a Disney, like Imagineers working on horrific animatronics that look real. Because if you ever go to Disney and their rides, everything there um, looks pretty damn real half the time, and they can use all sorts of trickery. I think the new Star Wars ride, the Force Awake, whatever that one was called. I mean, how many millions of dollars did that thing cost? So you can use tech like that. I don't know what franchise I would do though. That's the thing. I know it would be a franchise. I just not sure what.
Okay. So big warehouse with franchise shitstorms and animatronics.
Yeah, I mean, you would be in like a cart, like you would be, on a track and stuff. So you wouldn't really be walking around.
So it'd be like Mr. Bones Wild Ride.
Just Mr. Bones, you could just go with the, typical just haunted mansion. You're always good with that.
Okay.
But it would be in that caliber of like high quality, but this would be actually like terrifying ride.
Okay. I like where you're going with that. Justin, how about you, sir?
So I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction and say if I had unlimited funds and budget, I would buy up a desolate town and I would turn this town into the haunted house attraction and make it like escape room level like puzzles where you enter through the front gates and you have okay, there's the general store over there. Let's just go see what's inside there. And there's scares timed, and then just like, oh shit, there's zombies in here. We're not ready for this yet. We need to get weapons. Where the hell do we get weapons? Let's run over to the library where all of a sudden you find a pair of scissors. So it's more of this like interactive level of choose your own adventure, Goosebumps style haunted village. That's what I would do.
Wow. I'm going to feel so inadequate with your guys' recommendations here. But I mean, for me, I'm thinking like I want a big desolate forest. I want you to feel that you're secluded and you can't be in groups of more than, let's say, 5 people. But it's going to be a pretty decent walking tour on mine. So like you start in the desolate woods. It's super dark. There's
a guide over here.
No guides. This is what you have. You don't have a phone. You literally just have a compass and a flashlight, and you have and you literally just have to head west, due west, and
just head west.
And of course, along the way, there's a burning barrel, and there's just some tent with nobody in it, and there's actors. And one thing you have to do is sign the disclaimer and the what's it called, the fucking waiver, that you might get a little bit harmed during it. I feel like, that's something that not many people will go into because they know like, oh, no matter what, they can only like scream at me and like come near me, but they can't like touch me or like, I don't know, not saying like hit them over the head with a bat, but like, I think it would be fun to like, get shoved by a bad guy or like they trip you, you fall down a little bit when you're running. But they're not on the hook if you get hurt. But anyways, you go through the forest and then you come up to some kind of an abandoned warehouse. And in that warehouse, there's going to be different levels. And Jeff, not to steal from yours, this is what I was thinking about before. But like every section of the warehouse is kind of its different theme. It kind of goes through some of those franchise movies where you're in the scenes, like the most famous scenes of those. Again, where you kind of have to survive and maybe try to kill the bad guy. And Jeff, I'm going to steal this from you for sure, but animatronics that you can actually kill, that actually like you, in order to get out of this one section, you have to kill Michael Myers. And like, how do you do it as a team? And then at the end of the day, everybody, gets to take a little picture and then we charge $400 for that picture in the video. And that's how you get spooked.
So thank you for the explanation, because now I actually realized what I would theme mine after.
Oh,
my super multi-million-dollar. It'd just be off the Alien franchise.
Ooh.
That would be absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, you had animatronics like Disney quality, the noises going down the hallways, water dripping. I mean, the whole atmosphere of Aliens and Aliens 2 would be terrifying.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you actually encounter the queen and shit.
Oh, God.
Could you imagine?
Oh, that would be brutal. God. So wait, quick side quest. Justin, what do you think the price tag is of your little haunted town there?
Oof. I gotta say $99. Or price tag for admission or price tag for building?
Both. Let's go with both.
So it's $99 a ticket. Obviously, there's not a coupon day per Jurassic Park, but I imagine to buy up the town, to retrofit it, to get all the actors, and it's got to have like the turnover rate for being able to reset everything, because you can only have a party of like maybe 10 at a time, and then obviously people can go their separate ways. And I think that there's a lot of that element of, like, no, we don't need to go to the armory, or like, no, we don't need to go to the school. This is $100 million project.
Okay. I like that. Jeff, what about you? Price for admission and price to construct your giant world over there.
So, fun little tidbit. The most expensive ride ever built was $100 million, and that was Expedition Everest. So that's kind of what you're working with. Now that's a roller coaster, so built in a mountain that they basically built. So yeah, I'd probably be with Justin around the same type of budget, just with the animatronics alone. But it could be cheaper just because they did the Star Wars one, which is insane, and that didn't even cost as much as Expedition Everest. So anyway, price of admission. Now you got me thinking of this like whole Horrorland would build just based off of IPs, and now it's turning into like a horror theme park.
That's a legal nightmare for you. Don't worry.
So, admission could just be, admission into the park, like going to Disney, just Magic Kingdom for the day, and this is just called Horror Park. And you got the Alien ride, and, the Hellraiser ride, and you have all this crazy horror, rides going on in this like theme park. So, yeah, I guess it would, if it was a standalone. Again, if I'm getting this much money, I might as well just build the damn theme park, to be honest.
So if we were to get into your theme park, how many shekels are we handing out?
Yeah, I mean, it'd probably go the Disney price. So I think that's like $65 a day.
Oh my God, that's like $120 a day.
It's 120. I have no idea.
So
yeah, we're going like $100 a day.
All right, I like that.
Yeah, for a horror theme park. I don't know.
Yeah.
One Day at Wonderland by R.L. Stein.
Yeah, there'll be a Goosebumps ride. Why not?
Nice.
I don't know how that would be designed, but Justin, if you have any inspiration, just let me know.
I own all of the original runs of R.L. Stein's Goosebumps. They're on bookshelf in my study, so I will borrow them out to you as needed.
So could you incorporate majority of them in one ride?
I think that's what the Jack Black movies tried to do in like a film way, where it was kind of like the movie itself, if it were a ride, it would be this. So yeah, I think it's very possible to incorporate a good number of those movies. I mean, there's so many great SideQuest. What's your favorite Goosebumps book?
SideQuest Goosebumps here.
Goosebumps. Wow. I remember. God, who's the fucking ventriloquist dummy? What's his name? Slappy. To me, he's just like classic Goosebumps. Like when you search for Goosebumps, even like he's one of the first guys to show up. So he definitely was a little bit creepy at first, and probably one of my first go-tos that I remember. And then the second one was probably that mask one, like the haunted mask. That one also creeped me out. Ooh, boy. Getting goosebumps thinking about it.
How was the movie? I never saw that movie with Jack Black.
It was, honestly, the first one was pretty solid. The second one was reaching.
And I think I never saw the first one. I saw the preview for the second one like a week ago when we were scrolling through. I think they look worth a watch. Like, why not? What's the worst movie I've seen? It's probably not that.
No, it's not. I mean, comparable to like the Jumanji reboots. I mean, those are fun,
So it's not bad. I thought it.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay.
Should watch it.
Yeah, I would suggest giving it a watch, especially since it's spook season.
True. Put it on my list.
It very much is. Well, Justin, we got to know, with all those books back there, which one are you picking up the most?
There's two that always stood out as my favorite as a child, and having reread them as adults, I think that they're excellent stories. I'll go with the second place one, which is A Night in Terror Tower, which is like a medieval themed story where the kids go. I think they're in London or somewhere in England, and they go to this castle, and then they get transported to like medieval times, and they have to escape this like dungeon master. It's just this really crazy kind of fun story. I think, Jeff, I think you would enjoy it, at least for the story aspect of it. So maybe if there's a TV show or cartoon episode of it, so you don't have to read the book, which is like a total of like 96 pages or something. My favorite, though, that I think is R.L. Stein's best written book is The Ghost Next Door, which is this. Do you remember that one?
I do. Now that you mention it, I forgot about that one completely.
So, not to give like too many spoilers out, but essentially, it's new boy in the neighborhood moves to the house, and his neighbor, she comes around, she's kind of weird, she's kind of awkward, and yada yada yada. You find out that she's a ghost, but more tragically, she burned to a fucking fried crisp in a house fire.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so you're reading this as a kid, and you're just like, okay, she's weird, she's a ghost. She just got swallowed by flames and suffered like a mofo.
Wow, that's deep for a kid. I don't remember that part, but
Yeah,
That happened.
wow.
that'll always stick with me. That one's on the ribs.
There you go. Wow. Well, I mean, hopefully, I'm surprised they haven't made more shows or movies out of that. Not necessarily like Jack Black movies, but like I feel like that's a book series that could go on like forever. Like, R.L. Stein or not, somebody could pick up from there and just make it happen. I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
There you go.
There you go. All right, boys. Well, we're heading into our next segment. I'm super excited about this. So everybody shut up while we play the noise. Hit it!
Get over here! Finish it! Flawless victory.
All right, we have another death battle, and this one's going to be super exciting. This is a 4-way death battle, so not an easy one to just kind of think about off the tip of your tongue, but we've got it Halloween style. It's Michael Myers versus Leatherface versus Freddy Krueger versus Jason. The time and the place is kind of up in the air. I'm thinking, somewhere out in the, it's kind of secluded, maybe some forest, maybe a house, maybe a small warehouse, but somewhere where it's equal to each of them. They've got a shed with some tools in there. They got a house with a lot of different like traps and things like that. So without further ado, you use your imagination. Let's kick this bad boy off. I'll get started here. This is a tough one. I'm not going to lie. Michael Myers versus Leatherface, Freddy Krueger, and Jason. So from a stature and maybe brute force perspective, I feel like I feel like it'll come down to Leatherface and Jason. I don't feel like Michael Myers has the stamina or the weapon to outkill Leatherface's, chainsaw and Jason's machete. Freddy Krueger, he could be a little bit quick on his feet and probably a little bit quicker than the rest of the guys, but I feel like when it really comes down to it, it's going to be Leatherface versus Jason. And I have a feeling that, one false move from either of them, I feel like I would have to go with Leatherface. I would just love to see him kill and stand on the pile of dead bodies and, just have limbs everywhere as he, takes everybody's face and puts on 4 extra layers. That's my one. Jeff, what about you? Who are you going with?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good matchup. the first one to die, who actually can die, is going to be Leatherface, because in the end he's still human. He's just kind of deformed and he's fucked up, and he's got a chainsaw. But the other guys are just too much heavy hitters for him to take on. And I even think Freddy could get to him because Freddy's whole thing is, he feeds off fear. So he's kind of fucked when it comes to Jason and Michael Myers. But I believe that Leatherface has some fear in some things, either losing his family or something. So I'm going to go with Leatherface first, and then he's dead. And then Jason.
He's dead.
He's dead. Freddy Krueger would be a close second, as there's really nothing he could do to Michael Myers or to Jason, since they just don't fear anything. And so he wouldn't have power over them. As you can see in Dream Warriors, I think it's one of Justin's favorite Freddy movies, if I'm not mistaken, correct? You bring it up quite a bit.
Yes.
Justin?
Sorry. Yep, I was on
Yeah.
mute. Oh, so my bad. Yep. Love me some Dream Warriors. I couldn't unmute.
So with Dream Warriors, I mean, they, realize they're in a dream, and they stop fearing, and they can actually fight back. He has no power over. So he's very similar to like Pennywise, where once they're not afraid of him, he's kind of nothing. So Freddy's out, and then it really is just down to Jason. Two brute forces that are extremely difficult to kill. They both still aren't dead, so I'm not really sure how you can kill them. I'm just going to give the edge, though, to Jason, as he's basically some weird mutant at this point. I'm not really sure what he is. And he literally battled his way out of hell, which is pretty insane. We're not sure if Michael Myers does that when he supposedly dies. It'd be a good fight, but I think Jason would just overpower Michael Myers and just brute force and whatever the hell he's kind of mutated into.
All right. Very good. Justin, how about you, sir?
I'm going in a different direction from the both of you, so I'm so glad that we're doing this Fatal 4-Way, because I think that there's so much conversation to be had. I agree with Jeff when he says Jason over Michael Myers. I think Michael Myers is very terrifying, and Loomis, I shot him! Nat Loomis, calm down. Apparently you are a weak shot. But I think Jason destroys Michael Myers. I think Freddy and Leatherface face off. And Freddy, to Jeff's point, yes, he feeds on fear, but he is a formidable warrior, both in dreams and out of dreams. And those claws are sharp as hell. So I think he's nimble enough to avoid Leatherface's chainsaw and to play a little psychological game with him, because Leatherface is kind of, what's the word that we can PC say? Special. So I think Freddy...
I can watch.
I think Freddy Krueger has the edge in that battle, leaving Freddy versus Jason, which we've seen, and I think they did an excellent...
I was just waiting for the movie to get brought up.
So yes, we've seen it. And was it good? No. Was it enjoyable? Yeah. If you've not seen, audience, watch all of Nightmare on Elm Street and all of Friday the 13th, and then the of Freddy vs. Jason. But I gotta put my 2 cents, and I'm putting my bet on Freddy Krueger in the long run, because I think he's got the greatest handle over the mysticism and the physical. And there's no limit to his power of what he can do in the dream realm. He is all things. He is the dream master.
Wow. I like that. You guys both had good answers. Justin, obviously the king of horror over there, so I just have to bow down and go with your answer too. I'm changing my answer because I want to fit in. But I think it would be cool, like just some kind of random ass death battle sequence. Add in 5, 10 more, slasher characters that you can think of. Like, that's what we like to do here. And it would just be cool, like watching them fight against each other, room to room, like cutting back and forth to where are they at? Oh, they're outside. This guy's getting something from the tool shed. This guy's caught in a bear trap. Freddy knocked Jason out. Now he's asleep, and now he's terrorizing him in his nightmares and his dreams. So I think it'd be really fun. So hey, Hollywood, jump on that, and then what's his name, Victor something? Don't do that to us. That's our idea. We own all the rights. Thank you.
I want to just throw on one extra guy to see what Justin has to say when it comes to Freddy. Pitting Freddy against Pinhead.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because somewhat similar. So I'm curious. I'm just curious on what you would say to that. I have no idea.
It's a tough one. I enjoy all of Freddy Krueger's movies much more than the Hellraiser franchise. I'm, for what it's worth, not a super big fan of Hellraiser. I think it's just kind of OP. And in that regard, I think Pinhead wins. I mean, he's got the powers of hell behind him.
I don't think... I'll admit, I don't think I've ever seen a Hellraiser movie. You know what I keep thinking of when
a lot of fun.
When I think of Hellraiser, I always confuse it with the Lawnmower Man. I don't know. I don't
let's
know
throw
why.
Let's throw the Lawnmower Man in the battle since Eric wants it.
If you guys,
and then let's throw Carnosaur in the battle. If you remember that dinosaur '90s horror movie.
Oh my god. Yeah, if you guys could just get inside my head for a second and visualize what I'm thinking of. It's Pinhead on the cover, but like mixed with the Lawnmower Man cover. It's just terrible. That's probably why I've never watched either of them. Because I was so confused.
Missing out.
So I got my list cut out for me. So I'm going to be busy the rest of this October for sure, and beyond. And beyond. Well, gentlemen, here we go. We are on our last main quest of the evening. This trailer dropped this week. It's very exciting. It's been over 10 years or almost 10 years, but Scream 5 is coming back to the screen 10 years later. So the last one was Scream 4 back in 2011. The first one was all the way back in fucking what, like 1996 or something.
We were young.
We were young, and so were all the actors. And the trailer, I was wondering, how are they going to bring this movie into the new age here of modern technology and cell phones and just like how can you make a good scary movie like that anymore? So I'll shut up there. Jeff, what did you think about the trailer?
I mean, I thought it was fine. I'm not a big Scream fan as the rest of you. I was a huge fan of Scream 1, the original, and then that was it for me. Like the rest of them, I just didn't care about, and I know you guys can hate me for that or whatever. That wasn't, my thing. But yeah, I mean, it looks fine. I'm not like super excited, but we'll see. It feels like Dewey might die for some reason. It just looks like he's gonna die. Naive Campbell still looks fantastic, so good for her. The kids and stuff in it, like the newer generation, I kind of hate when they do that with movies. It's like, oh, we're ushering in the new age, and they kind of put them with the original. I don't know, kind of feels forced, but I guess they'll be fine. I don't know. Not just slasher films and stuff like that. For me, I enjoy more the supernatural element, so that's probably why the rest of the Scream movies aren't, as interesting to me than, say, like a Jason movie or something like that. So that's all I have to say onto it. So I know you guys are more the Scream fans. So
Scream boys.
We'll let the Scream boys go more into Scream.
Justin, what did you think about the trailer?
Sorry, my dog is lapping water, so it might be a little distracting.
Oh, Let her lap. She is more than welcome on this podcast any day.
We special guest performance by Fallon. Sorry for that, audience. No, I'm torn between being in Jeff's camp and then being in the excited camp because I think the trailer looked like shit. I hated the here comes the next generation of here's my cell phone and oh let me lock the doors from my phone and oh my gosh now they're unlocked. It's like we get it. We get it. Technology. But I have high hopes that this movie will do a lot better than the fourth one did, which was also shit, and the third one, which was also shit. The first two movies, I think, were not great. The first movie is excellent. The second movie was all right. The third movie was really, and then the fourth movie is like, guys,
Yeah.
do you not understand the franchise? So I'm hoping that this movie is intelligent enough to rectify the wrongs that they did in bringing whatever Culkin boy that they brought into the fourth one. And I don't even remember. I remember very little about the fourth movie. Saw it in theaters and just know that it was just kind of disappointing. And then there was 15 minutes more of the movie.
Yeah.
So I have high hopes that they learn their lesson. And obviously with Wes Craven, not a part of the production, RIP Craven case, White Castle, get it in there. I don't know. I will see it in theaters. I don't know. The January release date seems a bit
odd.
It's a bit odd, not well thought. I don't know why we're not.
It's going on soon, but come see this movie in January.
Yeah, I don't think of horror movies in January, and it's not like it takes place in January. It's not like it's a post-Christmas movie or something like that that's timely. I'm assuming the pandemic has a lot to do with its release date, so I won't get too peckish about it, but I'm optimistic. I'm assuming it's going to be like a 6.5 movie when it comes out, so that's all I'll say.
I mean,
Okay.
if Matthew Lillard is back in it, I'll go and see it.
There we go.
Because he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's so good in like Hackers and just he's
a
got
gem.
some great-
He's an American gem that needs to
And
be
if he,
used more.
I mean, if she's all that. I mean, all that. If he pops up in it, all right, let's go see it. Maybe he never died, so
You never know. He could be back.
Maybe he pulls a Jason and he just kind of comes back.
Yeah, I was the same way with you guys when I watched the trailer. Like, it was a little bit goofy. Like, okay, yeah, lock the doors, and people still have home phones. Is that a thing? Like, I suppose kids growing up nowadays, is that like, do people still have? Do they have home phones? But like, that's the only way the killer can get through now. Like, if this were to happen in real life right now, this motherfucker would come up like either as junk spam caller or would just be automatically blocked. So it's like, hey, guess what? We're not going to talk. I guess you just got to come kill me. But, I mean, I get it. They set this up right when the internet was coming out back in 96. So when nobody had cell phones, really, only a couple people. But it just seemed kind of like sloppy. And I really don't understand like why people keep coming after Sidney Prescott, Nev Campbell. Like, what now is the like driving factor behind wanting to kill her? Because the first two, we watched all four in like the past 2 weeks, so I'm like very fresh.
They were in the other movies. That's why they have to be in this movie.
Well, not even in like the third and the fourth. It kept making less and less sense. It was always like getting more extended family and people that they knew, and somehow it got to a point where they just felt like, oh, the only way I can fix this is by killing everybody she knows or comes into contact to, except for her. But I don't really have like a good motive to actually killing her. Like the fourth one was her younger cousin felt bad about growing up in her shadow. Somehow she grew up in her cousin's shadow and she wanted to kill everybody and get away with it. And like the third one, I don't even fucking remember because it was just so bad. It was like some guy that knew somebody that was a part of it, and he wanted his claim to fame.
because he was trying to make the movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was the director. But like,
Right, and he wanted to make a serious dramatic movie, but they made him make stab instead. So he's mad. So he's gonna kill everybody. Like,
yeah,
what?
I know. And I agree with you, Justin. Like the first one was excellent, and I felt like maybe they didn't know what to do with the success. So the studio's like, hey, Wes, you want a bunch more money and just make a second one and let's write it. I mean, they came out, 1 year apart almost? Like they were.
It was 97, yeah, and hot off the heels of I Know What You Did Last Summer, which took much of the success of Scream into their own pocketbooks.
Yeah. And it was cool how the second one, they made it more meta. Like, hey, we're going to make a movie based off of Sidney Prescott's like life and all that killing and stuff. It's like, that was cool. And the way they kind of, I guess, made the killers, what's her face from fucking Roseanne.
And Jackie.
And Jackie, trying to make her a crazy person. Okay, cool. But I don't know, that movie was kind of okay. And then, yeah, it just went into the shitter from there. So hopefully, this movie, they're going to do something really weird with it. Like all of a sudden Sydney's going to be the killer because she went mentally insane somehow. I don't know. It's going to be something stupid. Or Dewey, like you said, Jeff. Dewey's probably going to get killed like in the first 5 minutes. He just he looks miserable in that trailer. He just doesn't look like he wants to act or be a part of it, but they're just like, hey, David, we've got like 2 million. Do you want it? Do you want it? We've got, you just got to grow your mustache. We'll get you donuts every day. Do you want to do it? You want to? And then his ex-wife, Courtney Cox, is a part of it as well. So they have to reunite, which is probably fun in real life for them. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting my hopes up. And Justin, what you said about like January 14th, why? Nobody aside from COVID, like why not just push it to next October then? Like this is going to make no money. The reason why the Saw franchise did so well is because every October you knew another Saw movie was coming out. Whether or not you guys saw it or liked those movies, like they made some good money because they would always come out in October.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you guys think out there? Let us know. They've got a lot of actors in this movie. Jack Quaid's in it, Mr. Huey from The Boys. So it's a fun little mystery. Like, all right, who's the killer and why and how are they going to pull this shit off? And it's always the person you least suspect for whatever reason. So it'll be cool. I guess I'll go see it. I saw the last 4 and I'm already invested. So you got me. You did it, Scream. Thanks, Wes. R.I.P. Rip in peace. So, that being said, boys, we are on our final little segment here. We just like to give a free promo Friday out. And so we reached out to you guys on the Instagrams and shout out to another podcast called Two Dudes and a Cup of Booze, which sounds right up our alley. Basically, 2 guys just shooting the shit, talking about stuff. Jose and Ricky, and they have a really fun podcast over there. Some funny guys. I listened to a few episodes this week, so you can find them at the number 2 Dudes and a Cup of Booze. Check them out on Instagram. Go give them a follow, a like, and let them know what you think. And if nothing else, go scroll through all their posts because most of them are booze related. You might learn something about it, or maybe take a little taste test. So have fun and enjoy that. And without further ado, boys, we're going to wrap this bad boy up in a nice little neat package and stab it 50 times. So how do we want to end it?
Yeah, we are. I think that's exactly right. Maybe all 3 of us do the noise of us being stabbed 50 times and dying.
Ooh, I like that. Wow. All right, on 3, 2, 1.
Oh, my testicles.
Ow.